If you feel emotionally heavy, even when nothing bad is happening, you may not be overwhelmed. You may be carrying emotions that just don't belong to you. Some people process emotions by thinking through them. Others process them by feeling them fully. But water energy processes emotion by absorbing it. And without intentional release, emotional weight builds quietly in the body. This isn't weakness, it's how you're designed and it's receptivity. And today, we're talking about how to clear that emotional buildup. So, if you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. So, welcome to day 16 of our 31-day wellness and astrology series. And today, we're talking about emotional detox through the lens of water sign energy. Now, this video does not apply only to water signs. I'm not talking about you being a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, etc. I'm talking about water sign energy generally. Remember, we carry all forms of energy within us, just like we carry the energy signature of all 12 zodiac signs. The purpose of this video is to help you discern and understand when you need an emotional detox, when it's not you, quote unquote, failing, or you're not working hard enough. It's when you're carrying emotions that aren't yours. And this happens a lot more than we realize, and sometimes than we care to admit. Oftentimes, we absorb so much from our environment, the people around us, and we're carrying things like stress, anxiety, guilt, shame that may not even be ours to begin with. So again, the purpose of this video is to help you recognize that so that you can shed what doesn't belong to you. So water signs, and again, that's Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, and water dominant charts are deeply intuitive, empathic, and emotionally receptive. They don't process emotion in sharp bursts, they accumulate it. The ability to understand their environment comes from their design, and they are designed to absorb emotions and process them. That's how they understand what their environment is. Emotional detox isn't about fixing things. And particularly, it's not about fixing things in the way that we're taught to fix things, right? Like attack it like it's a whole, job to do or a chore. It's about releasing what your system is holding. Emotional detox is so important, whether you are water dominant or not. Because the minute that you start absorbing and holding on to what no longer serves you, not only does it make your life harder, but it can also lead to physical ailments. You see this all the time with people who are consistently in high stress environments, people who are in abusive environments. That kind of consistent exposure to that kind of energy can lend itself to emotional breakdowns, mental breakdowns, and even physical breakdowns. So again, we're talking all about how to detox our emotional body. So here's the real issue. Many emotionally sensitive people are often told to toughen up, to detach, to think logically, or to just stop taking things so personally. But water energy doesn't work that way. That's not how water energy is designed. Water energy is designed to absorb, to feel, to process. And when emotional buildup isn't released, it shows up as emotional fatigue, unexplained heaviness, mood swings, withdrawal, exhaustion without a clear cause, and feeling off. Now remember, this isn't weakness, it's just unprocessed emotional energy. That's why emotional detox is so important. And emotions often get a negative connotation, especially for people who tend to be quote unquote sensitive. They feel their way through life, right? Especially if you are water dominant. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with being sensitive. There's nothing wrong with leading with your emotions. It's just two things that are important in this realm. Emotional regulation, number one, and emotional detox. If you're someone who's water dominant, those two things not only go hand in hand, those two things are something that you need to actively integrate into your life. How you react to things and what you hold on to are super important to you and should be, again, integrated into your daily life. But either way, telling someone who's sensitive or who's emotionally led to stop taking things personally or just think your way through the situation or think logically, it's just not going to work. And that's okay. So here's how water signs experience overload. Now, you don't have to be a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces sun. You could have various planets in these charts. They could be your rising sign. This is just how water dominant individuals and water dominant energy experiences overload. So let's talk about Cancer first. So Cancer energy absorbs emotions through attachment and caretaking. Overload shows up as emotional exhaustion, irritability, or withdrawal. There is not one Cancer dominant person I know who is not always giving, who is not always over giving, who's not always taking care of someone, who's not, who isn't always nurturing something. And that's a lot of energy output. And especially if it isn't reciprocated, that's a whole other set of issues. But just being emotionally and physically tired, irritable, resentful, and then subsequently withdrawing is how overload shows up in Cancer sign energy. Now, for detoxing, Cancer energy needs emotional safety, nourishment, comfort, and rest. That same energy that Cancer gives out, Cancer needs to get back. Cancer needs to get nurtured. Cancer needs comfort. Cancer needs safety. The very things that they give to everyone else is really the remedy to their emotional overload. Now, let's move on to Scorpio energy. So Scorpio energy absorbs emotions through intensity and depth. Overload shows up as emotional pressure, resentment, or emotional shutdown. Now, Scorpio energy can thrive in traumatic and emotionally intense situations. Like Scorpio is built for that. But often that can be too much. It's reminding me, and what I'm seeing in my mind's eye right now is like an air purifier, right? You put an air purifier in a room or in a spot with very polluted air, and it just absorbs all of that air and purifies it, right? But eventually that purifier needs to be cleaned. Otherwise, it's just collecting gunk upon gunk upon gunk, and then it's not going to be functional anymore. And that's essentially what happens with Scorpio energy when it gets overloaded. Now, as tough as they are when it comes to emotionally intense situations, they can crack under too much emotional pressure, which can lead to resentment and eventually to emotional shutdown. And so what they need to detox is privacy, emotional honesty, and deep release. Okay, that deep release. Think of that air purifier example I just gave. A very deep and thorough cleaning with, disinfectant, antiseptic, all of that. Like that's what Scorpio needs to remedy its overload. And an outlet, I would say, for emotional vulnerability. Oftentimes people who are strong, whether they're strong emotionally, mentally, or even physically, they often don't have safe spaces where they can be weak, where someone can hold them up. And as tough and as emotionally tenacious as Scorpio can be, they need someone or a place or a group where they can be emotionally weak and vulnerable. That helps balance that emotional intensity that they are so well known for. And finally, we arrive at Pisces energy. So Pisces absorbs emotions through permeability and empathy. For Pisces, overload shows up as confusion, escapism, or emotional fog. So Pisces energy is malleable, it's mutable. It's also highly empathic, it's highly compassionate, it is super sensitive, super intuitive. These are the master healers. Now, master healers often emerge after I'm not going to say long periods of time, but after extensive self-healing. You become a master healer because you've had an immense amount of healing in your own life, right? So that's the first part when it comes to Pisces energy. But that ability to give empathy, to give compassion, to give love on a universal level is very much a part of the Pisces energy signature. Yet when there's too much giving, when there's too much empathy, when there's too much sensitivity, it could lead to confusion, which often leads to just escapism and emotional fog, also leading to emotional numbness, sort of turning off that empathy and compassion and just feeling nothing. And so, what Pisces needs in terms of an emotional detox is boundaries. I mean, Pisces needs boundaries anyway, because can be very boundless, grounding, and spiritual cleansing. Those are the things that can help Pisces feel more like themselves and help release and eliminate some of that emotional overload. Now, again, I decided to separate these videos, and I will be doing earth sign energy, fire energy, mental energy, right? So each sort of element is going to get their own video, but this is just to show you if you are someone who is water dominant, and maybe you don't have a clear handle on your emotions, or maybe you feel like your emotions are running you, or maybe you're trying to do the best you can out here, but you're always emotionally triggered, or it feels like your emotions get in the way. It's probably because you're experiencing emotional overload, and a detox is definitely required. So take a look at your natal chart and see if you are water dominant, or if you're a water sign or a water rising sign. Check to see what you need as a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, and engage in that emotional detox, not just once, but on a regular basis. If there's anything that you get from this series, it's that it's not just talking about, okay, this is an issue, this is how you solve it, boom, bam, done. This is what you need to sustain wellness in your life. And someone who is water dominant, emotional detox and emotional release on a regular basis is what you need to sustain wellness in your life for the long term. So now let's talk about what happens when emotional detox is avoided. So when water energy doesn't release emotion, it can turn inward. And this is when you'll experience emotional numbing, emotional flooding, avoidance, people pleasing, and carrying emotions that aren't yours. Emotional detox isn't dramatic. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It's preventative care. Water energy needs regular release to stay clear, right? If you are like, Scorpio dominant energy and you're like that air purifier, you need to be cleaned every so often so you can continue purifying the air, transforming the air. If you are a nurturer, you need that ability to be nurtured so that you can continue to nurture everything. And if you're here to heal, if you're here to be empathetic, if you're here to provide compassion in the world, you need the same in return, as well as boundaries, so you can separate what's yours and what is not yours. And I cannot stress this enough. Emotional detox has to be a part of your regular routine. Because when it is avoided, oh my goodness, it can be emotional breakdowns, emotional eruptions, avoidance, or just not feeling anything anymore. And as someone who's water dominant, emotional numbing is, anti your design. That's you not being you at all. That's when you experience disconnection from yourself and sort of wandering aimlessly. So again, emotional detox, necessary for you. So now let's get into a simple emotional detox ritual. Okay, so this is a detox practice that you can integrate into your daily life that is aligned with water sign energy. Okay, so step number 1, name what you're feeling without explaining it, meaning name what you're feeling without trying to rationalize it. Okay, understand the emotion. If it's guilt, if it's shame, if it's anxiety, and don't try to rationalize it by saying, oh, it's cause of this, cause of that. Just name it and observe it. Step number 2, ask, is this mine or did I absorb it? Now, that can be kind of tricky, especially if you are like Pisces dominant, because the lack of boundaries makes it very confusing to figure out what's yours and what's not yours. But taking the time to figure out, okay, is this just what my environment is feeling right now? Is this what everyone is going through right now? Or is this something that is personal to me? That's step number 2. Step number 3, use the elements of water. So this could be bathing, this could be showering, even hand washing with intention. Now, one of the things that I've often heard asked is, well, what do I do if I don't have a bathtub? Because a lot of people don't anymore. And a lot of these apartments and houses have standing showers, but no bathtub. Soaking your feet in water, especially if you're someone who's into spiritual cleansing and spiritual baths. You can add your herbs, you can add whatever you need to, but soaking your feet in like a tub or like a bucket of water can also do the trick there. But again, use water with intention. And by that, it's like, even if you're just washing your hands, you can recite a little incantation that says, I release what no longer serves me. And imagine whatever you're holding on to being released as you wash your hands under the water, right? That's what I mean by with intention. And that's step number 3. Step number 4, release through journaling, tears, breath, or sound. If you need to release by tears, which may be very likely, please do that. But whatever it is, there may be a physical component of this releasing. So maybe you have to get it out mentally, especially like, let's say you've got a couple of planets in Cancer, but you tend to be, or not tend to be, or you are a Gemini sun, right? Gemini sun, but you've got a couple of planets in Cancer as well. You know, using water, like I said before in step number 3, but also releasing through journaling may be helpful for you. Grounding, tears, breath, or sound can definitely also help with the emotional release. And then finally, step number 5, ground afterwards with warmth or stillness. This is an important part because it sort of seals everything together. It sort of brings this ritual to a close, right? And it grounds whatever you have done. So it grounds that emotional release, okay? And again, that's grounding afterwards with warmth or silence. And something important to remember here, when doing this ritual or any sort of ritual involving water or water energy, water heals through flow, not force. This isn't about forcing. This isn't about hustling. This isn't about trying to make something happen and taking action. It's about letting what is there to flow. And in this case, because we're talking about emotional release, letting things flow from you so that you can release them, not by force, but through flow. So for water dominant people, I want to propose this concept to you. Healing isn't about doing more inner work, right? I think that often, regardless of whether you're water dominant or not, we're always told, do more work, do the work. But especially for you, water dominant people, it isn't about doing more inner work. It's about doing less holding. There's a big difference between doing the inner work, which is reflecting, absorbing, processing. And it's more so about doing less holding, getting rid of what no longer serves you. When you release what doesn't belong to you, your intuition sharpens, your emotions soften, and your body relaxes. Remember, you were never meant to carry everything. Oftentimes, when there's a lot going on, it's the water dominant person who will absorb everything. And that can be extremely helpful to others because it can make situations less tense. It can make situations more bearable, but water dominant people are bearing the brunt of the emotional work. And while you are sort of designed for that and you're great at that, that's not your job. And again, it's not your job to hold everything. So again, this is why emotional detox is so important for you. Now, if you want to know, especially if you are water dominant, sort of what to do in your everyday life, your everyday routine, if you just want to understand yourself more on an emotional level, whether you're water dominant or not, then consider signing up for my signature natal chart experience, The Blueprint. This is essentially a natal chart reading and a transit report in one. So you get a 60-minute live reading with me, a private online portal full of resources, and then you get a 30-day alignment map, which is a separate video plus a PDF guide that basically gives you the transit report for the 30 days after your reading. So you know exactly what to expect and when to expect it. So if you're interested in that, the first step would be to book a free clarity call with me so we can decide whether this service is right for you, and if so, how to get started. If you're interested in signing up for that, the link to that is in the description box below. And if you haven't already, take my self-care signature quiz. It's a cute, fun little quiz that helps you understand your self-care signature archetype. And if you're interested in that, the link to that is in the description box below as well. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.